Okay, let me give you an overview of the process that I use, and this is basically the components of it, think of it that way, to get the job done in terms of speeding up change. And literally it can happen in just a few minutes. Establishing communication with the subconscious is step one. I was never taught that in graduate school. In fact, I don't think they mentioned the subconscious except talking about Freud. And Freud, I mean, if you listen to Freud, the subconscious is a place nobody wants to go. I mean, talk about a deep, dark abyss of, repressed sexual desire. And you know the term Freudian slip? You know what that is? That's when you say one thing but you mean your mother? Yeah. That'd be a Freudian slip. Okay. So nobody wants to go there because they've made it a horrible place to go. But the fact is, it's no more horrible than your hard drive. You go to your hard drive all the time. If you open your computer and you get documents out of there and stuff, that's energy. So we're going to be communicating with the hard drive here. You're going to pretest a desired belief statement. That's a very important thing to find out if your subconscious believes it or not. Like Juliana was very kind to come up here and give her attention to this process, and I had her say something that was pretty non-threatening. You know, my name is Juliana. But what if I had said something like, had her say something like, I love myself unconditionally, or I trust that I am a wonderful person, or anything that she would desire to be and to know about herself. Then all of a sudden the rubber meets the road. Now you're finding out from your subconscious mind, do you agree with that statement or do you not? You may have done tons of therapy, you may have been saying affirmations and meditated for 25 years, and I tell you, surprise, surprise, you'll say something you think is true and you do believe it consciously, but your subconscious mind never got the message. And that's the part that really needs to get it in order to have behavioral change last. That's why so much change tends to be temporary and made out of lots of willpower. All right, so we've got pretest the statement, get permission and commitment to change the belief using a Psych-K balance. The balance processes that I use, I call them balances because essentially what they do is they create a balanced identification or perception of the left and right hemisphere of the brain at the same time for the new belief. And by doing that, using this whole brain integration process stuff, you can reduce the resistance to internalizing a new belief very quickly without all that effort and struggle. And the permission and commitment thing is really important. I've noticed in conferences I've attended for energy psychology, as an example, many of the processes make huge assumptions that if you have something that looks like it needs to be fixed, it actually represents something that's broken. I don't know about you, but a lot of times whatever you call broken is a messenger. That message is there to that pain or difficulty or whatever you call dysfunction is there to teach you something, and you kill the messenger. So I found that it's much wiser to find out from the subconscious. It's even a good idea to do what you're talking about consciously before you do it. It saves you a lot of grief later on, and you don't have to get the proverbial 2x4 returning to get your attention because you managed to get a symptom to go away. This isn't about treating symptoms. It's about the cause of the symptoms. And then we'll do a balance, which is the process for change using whole brain integration of some kind or another, different varieties of that. We'll post-test the belief statement because it gives you a physical muscle response that's going to be different than in the beginning. So you have an objective way to measure a subjective change. You don't just say, well, how do you feel? And you go, well, fine, you look good. All right, see you next week. It's not that. You know before you leave the interaction whether that belief resides in your subconscious or not. So there's a way to know it for sure. And then celebrate the change, and that's my favorite part, so we'll be doing that. Okay, so let's see. I want you to take a look at some of these messages. What I did was I distilled some of the key messages that over the years of doing psychotherapy, I found that many people internalize from their childhood. You'll never amount to anything. You're worthless. You're not smart enough. No matter how hard you try, it's never good enough. Money's hard to come by and hard to keep. You don't deserve to succeed. No one will ever love you. And Bruce's favorite, you're going to get cancer because it's genetic. This one at the bottom, of course, you can make generic, which is you're going to get whatever disease you're predisposed to because it's going to get passed along in your family. So it doesn't. I'm just putting it out there to let you know that it doesn't matter what disease you put in this category of cancer. It's the same notion that I'm helpless and the situation is hopeless. I'm just going to get what I'm getting passed along. So these may be some of the messages that you got. And the question is, what if you could change them? What if you could have anything on this list? What if anything on this list could be true for you? What I'm going to ask next is, I'm going to ask somebody else to come back up to the stage, and I'm going to facilitate a process, first of all, to discover whether the belief that seems desirable to you is currently true in your subconscious, and if it isn't, then I'm going to facilitate a process to make it so. It'll take just a few minutes to do that. And so what I'd like you to do is just read down this list, and if one of these beliefs calls to you and just says, boy, I want that. It may not be true right now, I'm not sure, but I'd be willing to come up here to make sure. Would you like, you have one? Okay. Come on up. Yeah.
Get this one. I might actually be able to finish my PhD.
And which is that?
I deserve happiness and success in my life.
I deserve happiness and success. And your name is?
Karen.
Karen. Okay, Karen, I'm going to have you come over here, please. Like about so. And I'm going to have you put your arm out. We're going to do a little muscle testing together. Can I have you turn this way just a bit? Thank you. With your chin parallel to the ground, your eyes focused down and open. I'm going to press down on your arm. I want you to be strong if you can. You ready?
Okay.
Be strong. Okay. So we're going to do what we did initially to establish communication, because I haven't gotten a weak signal, so I don't know what that's like in Karen's system. So I want you to say out loud, my name is Karen.
My name is Karen.
Be strong, Karen. Good. Say, my name is Frank. Be a guy named Frank.
My name is Frank.
Strong, Frank. Okay, can you feel a difference in that? Okay, I'm not pressing hard. I don't want to press hard. I'm not trying to make this dramatic. I'm just trying to press hard enough that she can tell when the muscle locks in place and when it unlocks. So we're getting a very clear signal here. Just for fun, I want you to do in your mind silently, repeat the word yes. Hear that over and over in your head. And be strong as I press. Okay, repeat the word no over and over. And again, be strong as I press. Good, you feel the difference?
Yeah,
big difference. Okay,
Yeah.
so what we're going to do is we're going to make this a little juicier now. We're going to have Karen actually say her desired statement out loud. We're going to test it against what the subconscious mind currently has residing in there as a set of beliefs and see if she has any beliefs that support that. She may actually not believe it consciously. It's possible she could already believe it subconsciously, and we don't know that until we test. So if you put your arm out again, I'm going to have you say your statement out loud, which is, I deserve happiness and success in my life. Look down and say that like you mean it.
Okay. I deserve happiness and success in my life.
And be real strong. Oh, nice try. Please, God, make it work. That's about wanting it with all your heart and soul, but not having the program to support it. And that's what I mean. You know, you think, oh, geez, I've tried it, and I want that, and I'm really desirous, and oh, I'm all lined up, and your subconscious says, sorry, you know, no software for that one. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate a change process. And this is different than teaching it, so please forgive me in terms of not being able to have the time to explain each little detail. That's why it's a 2-day workshop. I can't make that into this hour or so that we have together. But I'm going to facilitate this with her by going through the protocol, generic protocol I showed you, and we'll see what happens. So if you put your arm out for a minute, please.
Okay.
First of all, we're going to get permission and commitment. We've already tested the statement. We know that you're weak to the statement. The goal is to get her to be strong to the statement. Right now she tests weak, although she's really wanting to be strong. And I can understand that. All right, so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You don't have to repeat any of this out loud. Just listen. And then I'm going to muscle test for yes and no responses and so on, okay?
Okay.
All right, it's safe and appropriate for Karen to balance for this goal now. So be strong, Karen. Good. We get a nice strong response indicating yes. All parts of the system are ready, willing, and able to balance for this goal using a new direction balance. So be strong if you can. Good. All right, her subconscious mind just agreed to one of the several Psych-K patterns. You might be asking yourself, how could she know what that is? Well, I'm not asking her conscious mind. Turns out I'm asking her subconscious mind. And the real magic of this is lots of information is shared subconsciously that you're not aware of at all. Every time you walk into a room, especially if you're as close as I am to her right now, much information at the 4 billion bit processing level is being exchanged between us. So if I know what a new direction balance is, turns out I do, I muscle test her, and her subconscious mind can actually give me a response to that because it can access my hard drive. It's very interesting about this stuff because I did it in foreign languages just to prove this to myself. What a trip. I got muscle tested in Mandarin Chinese, and my subconscious mind knew what this person was saying. All the muscle responses were correct for the questions that she was asking. So it gets really interesting in a hurry. All right, so here we go. We've gotten as far as doing the actual change process. I'm going to require a chair for this, so if you'll hold on right here, I'm going to grab one. Or I'm not. Oh, here it is. Thank you. All right, I'm going to put you right there, and you can sit down in that chair. Okay? So what we're going to do next is we're going to utilize some of this left-right brain integration technology I spoke about. We're going to set up a system so that Karen's mind can maximize her perception, left and right brain at the same time, while she internalizes this new belief. This is different than just saying affirmations, and I'll explain a little bit about that while she's going through the process. To determine the best way for her to achieve this left-right brain integration, we're going to use her physical body because it's an electrical system. If she crosses her ankle one over the other, her electrical field actually changes. I don't know if you know that, but when you cross your ankles or your legs, you're really changing the field in your entire body. Same with your wrists. Any place you can cross the midline of your body makes a different electrical circuit, just like a circuit board. So watch what happens. If you put your arm out like so, please, and cross one ankle over the other, it doesn't matter which one, looking down again with your eyes, I'm going to press down, you see if you can be strong. Okay, switch your ankles the opposite way. Let's see if it makes any difference when I test. And be strong now. Ooh, you see the difference? Go back this other way. Apparently there is a clear preference here. Be strong. She's real strong when she crosses right ankle over left. And remember, this is all in relationship to this goal. This is not a general thing now. We're into a belief change piece. That's the target. And her subconscious mind is telling us, hey, this is the way I need to be configured optimally to get this belief to be true. So while your ankles are in the position that caused the strength, I want you to do the following with your wrist. Put one on top of the other straight out in front of you like so. I'm going to press down on both of them, and I want you to be strong if you can. Strong now. Okay, switch them the other way. Let's see if it makes any difference. Be strong now. You tell me which one feels stronger. Go back to the other way. Be strong now. Okay, and back the other way. Be strong. Yeah, this way does, doesn't it? Like so. Yeah. We're getting a clearer signal. I just had to test a couple times because the difference is fairly subtle. So what you do with your hands now is just go ahead and interlace them like this. You can rest them in your lap. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. And then I'm going to have a little chat with the group while you're doing it. I'm going to have you close your eyes in a little while, and I'm going to have you be able to silently just repeat the statement. I'll give it to you, and then you're just going to repeat it gently over and over in your mind. And what I want you to do is I want you to actually invite any resistance to the idea, any other ideas like your statement is, I deserve happiness and success in my life. If you've got any other voices in there that say, no, you don't, you never did, you never will, all that stuff, rather than try to push them away or make them go away, I actually want you to invite them in. Say, okay, come on, because it's an educational process. You're going to be saying this statement to this resistance until the resistance just disappears. So until you feel either a mental, emotional, or physical change, keep your eyes closed and keep saying the statement to yourself. When you feel that shift, I want you to open your eyes and we'll do the next part of the process. Okay. Deal? Mm-hmm. And I'll amuse everybody out here while you do this. Okay. So I want you to close your eyes, silently begin to say the statement, I deserve happiness and success in my life. And while Karen is doing that, I wanted to make a couple of comments about what's going on. We've configured her body, not according to my guess or my judgment about what she needs, but her subconscious mind, which knows how that belief is blocked. It knows exactly what software needs to be rewritten to make it so, and it's in the process of doing so right now. It's different than meditation because most meditation is single-focused and all other ideas must go away. You notice the instruction I gave her wasn't to do that. It was to say the statement and invite these other ideas in. It's not prayer because you're not really asking for intercession in some way, come please help me. It's not that kind of thing. You're just affirming this belief over and over. It's not visualization. It's not positive thinking. It's simply affirming a statement to be true, educating the parts that are in resistance, and doing it through the filters of whole brain integration. While in this posture, she can't think of the downside of this the way she used to. Left and right brain now are working simultaneously, and they're perceiving this goal in a brand new way that she hasn't been able to every time she's thought about it in a normal sitting posture or just in her normal life. So it's really interrupting the cycle of over-identifying with the left or the right hemisphere of the brain, which kept her stuck. As soon as this comes into a whole brain integrated perception, the belief's hers, and we'll test it out. Okay? So you keep at it until you can feel something change, and then you just let me know, and I'll keep talking to all these people about this. So it's usually this process, I'd say on average, takes about 2 to 5 minutes for most beliefs to change. Small price to pay for something you've had all your life that's been arresting your life and keeping it from being in that ecstasy, the picture that we saw, and really promoting a lot more of the protection and the scream energy to your life. So it can shift, it does shift, and it's not about me doing something, it's about her. In fact, all of Psych-K is really about very little about the facilitator and a whole bunch about the innate wisdom and the divinity within each of us. It's activating that and moving it into a specific area of intention and giving the tools to the subconscious mind to do the job that it is capable of doing with the proper instruction for doing it. Sometimes when the change is taking place, this is another interesting aspect of this process, is that it's not particularly visual. You don't have to visualize anything. If you're not a good visualizer, you don't have to make a picture in your head to make things come true. If you tend to be more auditory, you make sounds in your head, you talk to yourself in your head, you'll go there. However the belief is wired in that needs to be changed, that's what she's going to get internally. So sometimes you'll get pictures, sometimes you'll get sounds, sometimes it's just your body, you're feeling. You'll feel the body change, you'll feel the muscles tense and then release. Happens differently for each person and different with each belief. Okay, she seems to think something's going on here, so we'll check this out. So unhook your ankles and your wrists, unhook these guys, put your fingertips together like so. Just hold them there. This is equivalent to the save command. If you think about what she was just doing in a computer metaphor, she was editing the documents that kept her from believing she deserves this life that's going to work. Then we're saving this to the hard drive. We're making it a permanent document in her subconscious mind so that it won't just go away. It's the same thing as you always save your work before you turn your computer off, so it's there when you get it next time. Same idea, so you can let go of that. Put your arm out to your side. I'm just going to test to see where we are with the process right now. This is a sort of intermediate deal. So just listen. This process is complete, so be strong if you can. Good. You get a nice strong response. You can stand back up, please. I'm going to remove the chair here. We're at a place where her subconscious just reported to me, I've had enough of that. I got it. Thank you. So we're going to verify it and see if that's really true. So I'm going to press a lot harder than I've been pressing just to make sure if this is true that there's no doubt it is. I want you to say out loud, I deserve happiness and success in my life. Looking down, say it like you mean it.
I deserve happiness and success in my life.
And be strong. Yeah. If I let go, she brings like a springboard. Nice going.
Thank you.
Good for you. So hang in here for just a minute. So I'm just wondering if, Karen, would you mind saying a little bit about what was going on while you were sitting down there?
Well, I started saying all the things, no, you don't, everybody's going to be jealous of you, you have to feel guilty, and then all of a sudden it was like, wait a minute, God wants everybody to be happy and successful in their life. And if God wants everybody to be happy and successful in their life, God wants you to be happy and successful in your life.
Bingo.
And when I went through that process, it just, it was very logically based. If this, then that,
So did you tend to hear, was that a conversation going on in your head more than anything else?
But then as soon as I realized that, I felt like just kind of like a lifting, like a happiness type of thing.
Well, I think that I deserve happiness and success. Might have something to do with the feeling getting to come in for a change. She went from the scream to the ecstasy pretty quickly right there. Thank you very much. Enjoy the change. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for volunteering. Okay. So, what'd that take? Maybe 5 minutes while I was trying to keep you distracted, so she had some, consider the circumstances. This is the worst possible place, on a stage with people in an audience doing belief change work, and it works anyway. Imagine if you had the privacy of your own home and one other person to work with and you didn't have an audience the whole time. How simple the things are. It's just been remarkable, my experience in the change work. When this work came in, and I can say came in because I didn't sit down and analytically develop Psych-K. It really was one of those born out of a moment of terrible frustration with graduate school training and other things I'd tried. All of a sudden, entire patterns of change were just downloaded in my computer. I went in my house literally and typed the information into a computer and said, okay, that's interesting. I wonder what that's about. And then I just read off the sheets and learned to work that way. It was very interesting. And this was 14 years ago. So I was very skeptical, didn't believe in muscle testing because I'd never experienced it, didn't believe in these patterns until I could experience them myself. And when I saw the really miraculous changes that were taking place in short periods of time, physically, emotionally, spiritually for people, I finally just said, okay, thank you, and I'll do it. So you find your path and you stay with it because it works. And it's my joy to get to share this information with you. It's like Bruce and I bond because he's bumping the envelope of biology. I'm doing the same with psychology. We've been looking in the wrong place for the changes for a lot of years, and it's time to wake up and do it completely differently. So thank you for your kind attention, and if you have an interest in learning more about the work, Doug's going to tell you about our workshops on the weekend. Are there any questions before I close? Anything that pressing and you need to know other than you need to go? Okay.
Hi, I'm Dr. Witten, and I'm really excited to share with you this video on self-muscle testing. You know, I learned to be a great muscle tester by working on myself every day for hours actually, and it's a great way to learn the system without the pressure of working on somebody else, because you're not going to judge yourself if you do something wrong. And you know, you can't always find somebody to work on, but you always have your body, so it's an excellent way to learn the system of muscle testing without any pressure. So what I want to do is show you some basic ways to muscle test yourself. People, when they're first learning, they fight too hard. They hold it too tight. And so you really want to relax into it. When it's strong, it should be effortlessly strong. And when it goes weak, it's simply like when you get the password and the gate opens, it just opens effortlessly. So it's strong and then it just goes weak. So relax into it. If you're finding you're having a hard time getting a clear reading, just take a deep breath. Just relax into it and just have it be effortless and easy. So there's some advantages and disadvantages of different types of muscle testing. If you ask a question, there's a very well-known technique for muscle testing where you take your thumb and ring finger and you create like a link. They call it a link, and you try to pry it apart. You take your thumb and index or thumb and middle finger and try to pry it apart. So strong equals yes and weak equals no. So if you ask a question, strong equals yes and weak equals no. So you try to hold your fingers together while the other hand pries it apart. The problem with that is that it takes both of your hands to do it. So if you want to find the location of something, or if you're testing a supplement, you can't have both hands occupied with the muscle test. So there's one-handed techniques which I'll show you for testing supplements, or if you want to find the location on your body or someone else's body. Another way to do two-handed muscle testing is to create interlocking fingers, and you try to break the bond like that. It's a pretty conspicuous way to do it. If you're in a restaurant saying, should I have the cheeseburger? No. Should I have the lasagna? No. It's kind of hard to do it in a subtle way, so that's one of the disadvantages. This is pretty subtle. You can kind of put it in your lap and nobody really sees what you're doing. You know, it doesn't look too weird. This one is a one-handed technique where you take your middle finger and push down and your index finger resists. So this would be a yes and this would be a no. And I use that a lot, especially when I'm working on a patient and I'm testing certain spots on their body, and it goes weak when I find, let's say, a bone out of place or an acupuncture point that's blocked. So that's a really good technique to learn, so you can do it one-handedly. Some people will take a supplement and feel if they lean into it or lean away. Most people lean into it if they want the supplement. I found all you have to do is just stand there and say, give me a yes, and my system actually goes back for a yes. Most people's systems go forward for a yes, but you could just say, okay, show me a yes, and see which direction that you lean, so you can get clear on how your system answers yes or no for that question. There's many other ways as well. You could muscle test your arm like that, you know, where you're the tester and the testee, just doing an arm test. And you know, everyone has their own way of doing it. Some people pry it apart this way. Some people prefer this in the left hand versus the right hand. So it's personal preference. Whatever you feel like you can get a clear reading on, that's the best system for you. So thanks so much and good luck.